What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, we're going to talk about the differences between asymmetrical bowling balls. So just because the ball is an asymmetrical ball doesn't mean that they're all going to be the same. Today we're going to be comparing the Jackal Legacy, the Trident Horizon, and the Venom Recoil. All of these are asymmetrical bowling balls, but all very, very different on the lanes. The Jackal Legacy has a very low RG and a high differential with a strong solid cover. The Trident Horizon has a high RG, medium-ish differential with a hybrid cover, and then the Venom Recoil has a low RG, low differential with a medium cover. So on the lanes, these are going to be wildly different. Let me know down below in the comments if you have any of these asymmetrical bowling balls. And as always, if you guys like this jersey, make sure you head on over to coolwick.com and use my promo code MOTIVELU10. Down below in the description, I have a link to my Patreon, and I invite each and every one of you to come out and join. I'm going to take you guys out on the lanes now so you can see this in-depth comparison between these three asymmetrical bowling balls in action. The one thing I do want to tell you guys before I take you guys out on the lanes is that the characteristics of most asymmetrical balls is that they tend to be a little smoother and roll a little bit more forward in the back part of the lane. They're going to respond to the friction sooner than symmetrical balls, which is why most of the time they're so early. But as we know, the cover dictates everything. So I fully expect that this Legacy, Horizon, and Recoil are going to be very different. All right, so we're going to start this video here and we're going to go in release date order. So I'm going to start with the Horizon because it's the newest one, then go to the Legacy, then go to the Recoil. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about, even before I pick up this bowling ball, is that I was just told that they changed the oil on the lanes. Not the pattern, just the oil. I was told it's still the Kegel oil, but instead of ice, it's the curve. So I don't know what that really means. I'm not like an oil expert or anything, but in the 8 frames that I warmed up, I did notice that my ball wasn't hooking quite as much as it normally does here at Sam's Town. So I was actually able to play a little bit straighter even with these asymmetrical balls. So we'll see. I'm gonna start here with the Horizon, and I'm gonna start at around 22-ish to start, and I am playing fairly straight. Make sure I'm recording there. All right. So I'm here at 22, and I am playing a little straighter, which I like to play with these bigger asymmetrical balls. So I definitely threw that one slow, probably not my best shot to start, but you can see that it is going a little bit longer, and I don't know if it has to do with the ball being a hybrid with a high RG or just the oil, but I am liking what I'm seeing. I am gonna stay in that same spot, just throw it at the speed that I'm supposed to. And like always, I am bowling on a fresh, typical house shot. But like I said, this is a new oil. I don't know if it really would have mattered or not, but. All right, so I'm gonna go back to that same spot and just not throw it super slow and see if how good this looks here. I really like that. I leaked it a little bit right. Even though there is a new oil or whatever, there's still a lot of friction here at Sam's Town. So if you get it going into the friction, it's gonna look pretty good. I definitely think that the Recoil having a hybrid cover, higher RG, really helped get it to come around the corner and actually strike from there. Now we're gonna go to the Jackal Legacy and see how it looks from that part of the lane. So this is gonna be the first shot here with the Legacy. I am gonna play at around the same part with all these balls, just so that we can see the real differences between, so you can see that there is a big difference between these balls, even though they're all asymmetrical. The Horizon should be the one that shapes the most. This one should be the earliest and smoothest. The Recoil should be right in the middle, but the weakest hook potential overall. See, like, that got into a roll so much earlier than the Horizon, and I got it to the same part of the lane. And that's the big thing. So don't think that just because these balls are all asymmetrical that they're all gonna do the same thing. They're going to be really different. All right, so Jackal Legacy from a little straighter is like, nothing goes through the pins better. It's like hilarious. Like, I went back and looked at that shot, and the more I think about it, it's like, man, I wish I could find more oil to play this part of the lane more often. But I like that last shot a lot. So we're gonna just repeat that shot. And the shape was completely different from the Horizon. Again, that was a little slow. I definitely have to make sure that my speed is up because there's so much friction here that I'm really excited when I get into the versatility test, when I start getting left and see how different these balls are really going to be. All right, so now we're gonna get into the recoil. The recoil has a low RG, but it has the lowest differential and the weakest cover of the three. But because it has that weak cover, it should respond to the friction a little harder than these. So it should come off the friction a little bit harder, but the hook potential is definitely gonna be lower. So we're gonna go back to that same spot and see how it looks. See, it definitely didn't read the pattern as early as the Legacy, and it didn't shape as much as the Horizon. It's kind of like a in-between, and I really like that. Anytime I can, especially that ball, anytime that I can play with the recoil a little bit straighter, it's always been really, really good. So I'm gonna throw another shot before we get into the versatility test. So when I think of guys like AJ Johnson, who absolutely crushes on pretty much any short pattern with this recoil, I can see why now. The more I throw this ball, the more confidence I have in it. You know, the ball came out about 2 years ago and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I didn't really love the shape, but now that my ball rolls a little bit more forward, my rev rate's a little bit higher, the confidence in my game has grown, I'm really, really liking what I'm seeing out of this ball. And maybe that was just it. Maybe I just needed that little bit more forward roll, a little bit more rev rate, a little bit more confidence, and all of a sudden this ball looks really good for me. Absolutely. Anytime that the 6 smacks the 10, it was a really, really good shot. So now we're gonna get into the versatility test. And for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna throw one shot from 3 different zones with each of these balls. Zone 1 will be from about 15 with my feet, then 25, then 35. And we're gonna see which one of these 3 is more versatile. I want you guys to go in the comment section and let me know what your prediction is for this versatility test. All right, so here we are. We're gonna start the versatility test. We're gonna start in zone 1. First ball is gonna be this Horizon. Now, historically here at Sam's Town, these bigger asymmetrical balls typically don't look all that great from zone 1 just because of the sheer amount of friction out here. So it'll be interesting to see how these will stack up today. All right, here we are, 15, just trying to keep it nice and forward and up the lane. Yeah, so I'm definitely seeing a little differentness because I leaked it a little bit right, but I definitely think that there should have been enough friction there to get that ball to really come off the spot. So I am seeing a little something different than normal. So now we're gonna go to the Legacy from zone 1. So now this is gonna be zone 1 with the Legacy. I was a little afraid with that last shot. So the ball did go a little bit too long. We'll see what's gonna happen here. Oh, so because that first shot with the Horizon kind of didn't do anything, I kind of yanked it a little bit to try to make sure the ball hooked. Not on purpose, obviously, but the ball hooked a ton. I'm thinking zone 1 isn't gonna look very good for any of these bowling balls. Maybe the recoil. All right, hopefully the recoil can actually look pretty good from this zone 1. Going in, I didn't think any of the 3 were gonna look all that good, but I never would have thought that they were gonna look this kind of So, all right, we're gonna go back here to 15, and hopefully this will be it right here. Nope, I misleft again. So zone 1, I'm obviously gonna show you guys because I show every single shot, but zone 1 is gonna be a dud. So now we're gonna go to zone 2 and hopefully I'll throw some better shots. All right, so here we are, zone 2. We're gonna start with the Horizon. And here's to throwing better shots than I was before. So again, I'm gonna go here to 25 and really get it into that friction and see if it'll make that corner. Really, really like that. What I'm seeing so far is that all these balls are looking a little bit better from a little bit further left. kind of like in the intro, when we were into zone 1, I was 2 on top of the friction, and then if I got it right on the other side of the friction, it didn't look all that great. So I'm really thinking zone 2 and zone 3 are with these asymmetricals are gonna stand out. All right, so the horizon looked really good from zone 2. Hopefully this legacy will also look pretty good from zone 2 because I got a lot of strikes to throw to catch up on from zone 1. So here we are. Again, just trying to get it into the friction like before. Yeah, much better. It's funny because here at Samstown, I typically like playing a little bit straighter with weaker pieces. I don't usually love playing a little further inside, but what I'm seeing right now, all these balls are looking really good from further left. So it'll be interesting as we get into zone 3. All right, zone 2 with the recoil. Let's see. You know, when we were warming up, this part of the lane looked really good with the recoil. So I'm hoping I can show you guys another good shot here. And I'm turning into a big fan of this recoil 2 years later. Okay, so that right there is exactly why you want to have the right tool for the right job. If I was forcing myself to play in that first zone, all 3 of these bowling balls looked pretty bad. Like, not bashing anything, they just looked pretty bad from that part of the lane. Now we get into zone 2, I should go 3 for 3 in strikes after going 0 for 3 in zone 1, and all of a sudden, all 3 of these bowling balls look really good. I don't really know which one of these 3 looked best from zone 2. I'm gonna let you guys decide in the comments because they all looked pretty good. Now we're gonna get into zone 3 before we round out this video. All right, so now we're gonna be in zone 3, and I really want you guys to pay attention just how different all 3 of these bowling balls are from zone 1, from zone 2, from the beginning of the video. The hook potential, like I said, on the horizon and the legacy is about the same. The big difference is the front to back. And then when you factor in the recoil, all 3 of these bowling balls are pretty different. I mean, different enough that you can have them all in the same bag and there isn't gonna be, like, it's not like you're gonna have a whole lot of overlap. So now we're getting into 35 with the horizon. And this will be interesting because they're hooking way less than normal here. So it'll be interesting to see what these look like. So that was a pretty good shot. I made sure that I got it into the friction. I did wrap a 10. Maybe if the ball was a little bit stronger or if I moved a little bit right to get it into the friction a little sooner, it would have looked pretty good. But now we're gonna get into the legacy and see if the legacy will kick out the 10 from there. So now we're gonna get into zone 3 with the legacy. Like I said before, the horizon looked good from there, just that pesky 10 pin stayed up. So hopefully this ball, the strength in the cover, hopefully will be enough to get it to kick out that 10 pin. And hopefully it doesn't roll too forward since it is a really big asymmetrical core. See, okay. That's why I always stress that the cover of the ball is what's most important. The core is important, sure. The layout is important, sure. But none of those things are actually touching the lane. The cover is what's actually touching the lane. And the cover on the legacy is way stronger than the cover on the horizon. And the strength difference was enough to actually kick out the 10 from there. So I can't stress it enough. Cover over pretty much everything as far as importance. So now we're gonna get into the recoil. All right, final shot of the video here, zone 3 with the recoil. What I really hope that you guys all gain out of this video is not, like, I'm not trying to sell you on any of these bowling balls. What I'm really trying to stress in this video is the knowledge, that you understand that just because the ball is an asymmetrical ball doesn't mean that they're all going to be the same. So that's the important thing. All right, recoil, zone 3. See how this can look here. So the recoil, because it is the weakest cover, it is gonna come off the friction a little bit harder. So in terms of which ones I thought looked best from zone 3, I'd probably say Legacy 1A, Recoil 1B, and then Horizon 3. So let me know in the comments which one of these three you thought was the more versatile one, and more importantly, why you thought that. Until next time. Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought about this video, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Click right here to watch my other videos. Click right here to subscribe. Till next time.